The morning air outside of the courthouse was heavy, as if it held years of secrets that were finally about to come crashing down. Reporters crowded the steps, microphones ready, cameras flashing, all just waiting for that one shot. Meri Brown, stepping into the storm she had avoided for far too long. She wasn't the same Meri that fans remembered from Sister Wives. The warmth in her eyes had hardened into something sharper. Her heels clicked against the marble floor as she entered. Every sound seemed to echo like some kind of countdown. Behind her, Christine and Janelle followed quietly, exchanging uneasy glances with each other. They weren't sure if they were here for support, or to witness the end of a family built on lies. Kody sat at the defense table, arms folded, his expression unreadable, but his eyes, those familiar, fiery eyes, showed a flicker of panic when he saw the sealed envelope in Meri's lawyer's hand. Robyn clutched his arm, whispering something that only made his jaw tighten even further. Judge Thompson adjusted her glasses and looked over at the file in front of her. "Mrs. Brown," she began, "you have accused the defendants of deception and falsified records. Before we continue, would you like to address the court?" Meri rose slowly. For a moment, she said nothing, just stared at Kody. The silence stretched long enough for everyone to feel it. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm, but every word carried years of hurt. "I built a life around a lie," she said, "and I defended that lie because I believed it kept us together. But what Kody and Robyn did wasn't about love. It was about control." Gasps rippled through the room. Even the reporters stopped typing for a second. Kody leaned forward, ready to interrupt, but his lawyer placed a hand on his arm. Meri continued, "For years, I trusted him. I believed in the vision of family he promised. But when everything started falling apart, when Christine left, when Janelle distanced herself, I realized something deeper was going on, something he hid from all of us." Her lawyer stepped forward and handed the envelope to the bailiff. Inside was the DNA report, a simple sheet of paper that carried the power to rewrite their story. The judge took it, brows furrowing as she scanned the first few lines. A visible shock crossed her face before she masked it behind professionalism. "Mrs. Brown," Judge Thompson said with caution, "are you suggesting that—" Meri nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. The child they claimed was legally adopted isn't biologically Robyn's, and the documents were altered to make it look that way." Whispers erupted within the courtroom. Kody slammed his fist on the table. "That's a lie," he barked. Tears welled up in Robyn's eyes. "How could you do this, Meri? You're tearing us apart even more." Meri turned toward her then, her voice breaking for the first time. "You already did that, Robyn. The moment you lied to all of us." Christine leaned forward from the gallery, whispering, "She's really doing it. She's actually exposing them." Janelle looked down, tears quietly streaming. It was bound to come out one day. The judge raised a hand. "Order in the court. Order." When the noise had died down, Meri's lawyer produced a timeline of events, emails, phone records, adoption forms. Each piece of evidence told a story of deceit, carefully hidden under the guise of family unity. Every revelation served to chip away at Kody's composed image. Kody's voice grew louder, desperate. "Meri, after everything we built together, why now? Why destroy the family's name in front of the world?" Meri looked directly at him. "Because you destroyed me long before this courtroom." "And you did it with a smile." Her words cut like a physical blow. Robyn's hand fell from Kody's arm. Even the judge paused before forging ahead. The audience could feel it. This wasn't a case, but a reckoning. Cross-examination started. Kody's lawyer sought to paint Meri as bitter, seeking revenge for heartbreak. "Isn't it true," he asked, "that you filed this claim shortly after Kody publicly declared he was done with the marriage?" Meri took a breath. "Yes, because when someone tells you they never loved you, it forces you to finally see what's been there all along." The lawyer wouldn't let it go. "And isn't it possible you misinterpreted documents or—" "Misinterpreted?" Meri snapped. "You think I can't recognize my own husband's handwriting on falsified papers?" Gasps again. Even Robyn turned to look at Kody, her face pale. "Kody, tell me she's lying," she whispered. But Kody said nothing. Meri's lawyer placed another exhibit quietly on the projector, a scan of the document showing edits and mismatched signatures. Murmurs rose in the audience. The judge hunched forward, peering through her glasses again. "Kody Brown," she said, sternly now, "do you have an explanation for this?" Kody straightened his tie, his voice low and defensive. "We were following legal advice. There were complications." "Complications?" Meri repeated bitterly. "You mean the truth?" Robyn, suddenly breaking down, sobbing quietly into her hands. "We never meant to hurt anyone," she said between tears. "We thought we were protecting our kids." Meri's tone softened somewhat. "Protecting them from what, Robyn? From honesty?" The judge called for a recess. The sound of the gavel echoed like thunder. Reporters rushed out to call their editors. Fans online were already typing. Meri finally exposes Kody. DNA shock in sister wives' trial. Truth behind the Brown family revealed. But inside the courtroom, Meri just sat quietly, staring down at her trembling hands. For the first time, the anger had faded, replaced by something deeper. Relief, fear, sadness. Christine walked over and sat beside her. "You did it," she whispered. "You told the truth." Meri looked up at her, eyes wet but steady. "It's only the beginning, Christine. The real truth hasn't even been heard yet." The judge was back in a few moments. "Court will reconvene in 30 minutes. Mrs. Brown, please prepare your next witness." Meri nodded wordlessly, looking back toward Kody and Robyn. For the first time, Kody appeared smaller, like a man finally bearing the weight of his own decisions. Robyn wouldn't meet anyone's eyes. Whispers rustled through the audience as Meri gathered her papers. Christine put a hand on her shoulder. "Who's next?" Meri's lips curved slightly. "Someone who can confirm everything." Christine frowned. "Who?" Meri rose to her feet, a name Kody hoped would never come back. She turned to the door, determination in her stride. When the recess ended, the air inside the courtroom felt different, heavier, thicker, the kind of silence that only comes when everyone knows something big is about to happen. Even the judge seemed restless, tapping her pen against the bench as the bailiff called the court back to order. Meri stood tall, but inside, her heart was pounding. This was the moment she'd been waiting for, yet fearing. The moment she'd lose every last bridge she hadn't already burned. Kody and Robyn nervously whispered to each other. Kody's lawyer shuffled papers, his voice clipped and controlled, but his eyes darted toward the door, half expecting a ghost to walk through. Judge Thompson cleared her throat. "Mrs. Brown, you may call your next witness." Meri's voice was steady but cold. "Your Honor, I call Hannah Ellis to the stand." Once more, gasps erupted through the courtroom. Even Christine's jaw had dropped. Hannah Ellis was a name from the past, one that had slipped away silently years ago. She had been an old family friend, an assistant to the Browns during their years in Las Vegas. And then she simply vanished. No explanation, no goodbyes. Now, here she was, walking down the aisle in a dark navy suit, her face pale but determined. The color drained from Kody's face. Robyn clutched her pearls. "No," she whispered. She wouldn't dare. The bailiff swore her in. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" Hannah nodded. "I do." Meri's attorney came forward. "Miss Ellis, can you tell the court your relation to the Brown family?" "I worked for them," Hannah said, mostly helping with their show schedules, logistics, and paperwork when they moved from Utah to Nevada. "Were you ever asked to handle any legal or adoption-related documents?" "Yes," Hannah said in a soft tone. "I printed out and delivered the papers Robyn signed for the adoption." Kody's voice cut through the tension as he leaned forward. "You're lying, Hannah. You weren't even there that day." Hannah's gaze zeroed in on him. "I was, Kody. You just didn't notice because you were too busy making sure everything looked legal." A murmur swept through the courtroom. Meri's eyes glistened, both in gratitude and sorrow. She knew Hannah was risking everything by being here. Meri's lawyer stepped closer. "Miss Ellis, what did you discover?" Hannah took a deep breath. That one of the signatures on the adoption forms didn't match the official record. "And when I asked about it, Kody told me, 'Don't worry about it, it's been handled.' A few days later, I got an anonymous envelope with $5,000 in cash and a note telling me to stay quiet." The audience gasped again. The judge's eyebrows shot up. "You have that note?" Hannah nodded and reached into a folder. "Yes, Your Honor. I've kept it for 8 years. The judge examined the note carefully. The handwriting was unmistakably Kody's. Meri covered her mouth, tears welling. Robyn looked like she might faint. Kody's lawyer jumped up. "Objection! There's no proof my client wrote that note." The judge frowned. "Overruled, for now." Meri's lawyer continued with, "Hannah, did you confront anyone after receiving the note?" "I tried to tell Meri once," she admitted. But Robyn intercepted the call. She said Meri was going through a lot and that it wasn't the right time. So I stayed quiet. Until now. The silence that followed was suffocating. Meri closed her eyes to fight off emotion. That must have been why she never heard from Hannah. Another manipulation, another lie sewn into the web. Kody bent toward his attorney, whispering furiously. Robyn's tears streamed down her face as she spoke in a cracked voice. "We were trying to protect the family, Meri. The cameras, the fans, they wouldn't have understood." Meri turned to her, eyes ablaze. "You weren't protecting the family, Robyn. You were protecting him." The words sliced through the air like a blade. The lawyer handed over the exhibit, a copy of the falsified document and Hannah's sworn statement. The judge skimmed through it, her expression growing darker by the second. "Kody Brown," she said sternly. "This evidence raises serious concerns about document tampering and obstruction. I suggest you start explaining." Kody rose slowly, his voice shaking just enough to let the mask slip. "I was trying to keep my family together. The network was watching us. The world was judging us. You think I wanted to lie? I did what I had to." Meri stood up from her chair, her anger surging. "You always say it was about love, about faith, but it was always about control. You used us, Kody, every single one of us, to build your image. And when the cameras turned off, you turned on us." Sobs from Robyn echoed through the courtroom. "Please, stop, both of you. You're making it worse." The judge banged his gavel. "Order! If this continues, I will clear the courtroom." But the emotional damage was already done. Fans watching from the gallery whispered like wildfire. The Brown family's once perfect facade was burning in real time. The court adjourned again for a short break. Hannah stood to leave, but Meri stopped her.
"Thank you," she whispered, gripping her hand. "You did what none of us could."
Hannah smiled faintly. It's time everyone knows what really happened. Christine came up quietly. "Is there more?" Meri nodded. "Much more. This was just the first thread. Once the next piece comes out, even Kody won't be able to deny it." At the exit from the hall, they were besieged by reporters who shouted questions. "Meri, is it true Kody forged documents? Will Robyn testify next? Is this the end of the sister wives' legacy?" Meri didn't say a word. She only looked up toward the gray sky above the courthouse. It was as if the weather understood, the calm before the storm. Christine squeezed her shoulder. "You look terrified." Meri exhaled. "Not terrified, just ready. Because tomorrow, the next witness isn't coming from our circle." Christine frowned. "Then who?" Meri looked ahead, her voice steady but heavy. "Someone who knows what Kody's been hiding all along." The next morning, the courthouse looked different. Cameras were doubled, the air heavier. This wasn't just about a trial anymore, but watching the disintegration of a family in real time. Inside, Meri sat at the plaintiff's table, silent but alert. Her hands clasped tightly in her lap, she stared ahead at the empty witness stand. Christine sat behind her, eyes red from lack of sleep. Janelle came in late, her face pale, torn between loyalty and truth. Kody was already there, whispering furiously to his lawyer. Robyn sat beside him, mascara smudged, her hands twisting nervously. She hadn't said a word to anyone since yesterday's storm. Judge Thompson strode in promptly. Court is now in session. The sound of the gavel echoed like thunder. Meri stood up. "Your Honor, I'd like to call the next witness." The judge nodded. "Proceed." Meri took a deep breath. "The prosecution calls Dr. Samuel Harlan." A tall man in a grey suit entered the room, composed and confident. The murmur through the gallery was instantaneous. Everyone knew him. He was the DNA specialist who had analyzed the report which started this whole case. Robyn's hand shot to her mouth. "Oh no, no, no," Kody muttered under his breath. The bailiff swore him in, and Dr. Harlan took the stand. Meri's lawyer began. "Dr. Harlan, you conducted the paternity analysis on the samples submitted under the Brown family case. Can you tell the court what you found?" Dr. Harlan adjusted his glasses. "Yes. When I received the samples, there were inconsistencies in the chain of custody records. The samples labeled maternal did not genetically match Mrs. Robyn Brown. Further testing confirmed that the maternal DNA belonged to an altogether different woman." The courtroom was in stunned silence. Kody slammed his hand on the table. "That's impossible. There must be a mistake." Dr. Harlan calmly shook his head. "There's no mistake. The results were verified by 2 independent labs." Robyn began to cry. "Kody, please, please tell them this isn't true." But Kody didn't answer. His jaw clenched, his face pale. The truth was standing right in front of him, and there was nowhere left to hide. Meri's lawyer continued. "Dr. Harlan, were you able to identify the actual biological mother?" The courtroom leaned forward, their every heartbeat in rhythm with the tension. Dr. Harlan hesitated. "Yes, the identity of the biological mother matched a woman named Laura Dean." The name sent ripples across the courtroom. Cameras clicked rapidly. Christine gasped. "Wait, Laura Dean? The woman who worked at Kody's office? Meri's face froze. I remember her. She left suddenly years ago. Robyn shook her head violently. That's not true. She's lying. Dr. Harlan did not budge. All genetic markers confirm it. There's no possibility of error. The judge leaned back, shocked. Mr. Brown, would you like to reply to these findings? Kody stood up, his anger mixed with desperation. This is all being twisted. Laura was a friend, that's all. Meri's trying to ruin my reputation because she's bitter. Meri's voice rose, filled with years of hurt. You ruined your own reputation, Kody. You made me believe Robyn was the victim, while all along you were hiding a secret child. Robyn collapsed into tears, shaking her head. Kody, tell me this isn't true. He looked at her, eyes hollow. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was before we were legally married. I thought no one would ever find out. The courtroom gasped. Meri stepped back, her hand covering her heart. For a moment, her voice broke. You lied to all of us, even after everything we gave up for you. Christine rose from the audience, her voice trembling.
So all this time, you made us fight each other while you were the one betraying us.
Janelle
Whispered. This is the real reason the family fell apart. The judge raised her voice. Order! Order in the court! But it was chaos. Reporters were furiously typing away. Cameras were zooming in on Robyn's tear-streaked face, on Kody's trembling hands, on Meri's hollow expression. Finally, the judge restored order. Mr. Brown, are you admitting that the child in question was conceived with another woman? Kody hesitated, then whispered, yes. It felt as though the walls exhaled themselves. Years of rumors, theories, and quiet suspicions were suddenly, devastatingly real. Meri sat down slowly. Her voice was nearly a whisper. I used to think betrayal was just emotional. I never thought it could feel like this. Dr. Harlan handed the verified report to the judge. These are the official findings, Your Honor. The judge read them carefully. This court will need time to review these documents. We'll resume after a short recess. The gavel fell again. Meri remained seated, her eyes vacant. Christine approached from behind her, hugging her shoulders with an arm. You did it, she said softly. The truth's out. Meri shook her head. This isn't victory, Christine. This is loss. Because no matter how this ends, we've already lost everything that made us a family. Robyn stood, shaky, devastated. She turned to Kody. All these years you made me believe we were the only ones holding this family together. You made me fight them. You made me hate Meri. Kody's voice cracked. I thought I was protecting everyone. Protecting? Robyn's voice went cold. You destroyed us. You destroyed me. She pulled her hand away from his, and for the first time, Kody looked small, like the empire he built on control and charm was finally collapsing beneath him. Reporters shouted questions as they left the courtroom, flashes lighting up their faces. But Meri didn't flinch. She kept on walking, silent, her expression unreadable. Outside, the cold wind hit her face. Christine caught up. What now? Meri glanced toward the courthouse steps. Now we finish this. Tomorrow, I show the court something that will end Kody's game once and for all. Christine scowled. What's left that could possibly? Meri's voice was quiet, but fierce. Proof that the show money, the trust funds, the accounts were all manipulated. And this time, I'm not coming for his lies. I am coming for his empire. The courthouse felt colder the next day. Everyone had been rattled by the revelation of the DNA.
The reporters, too, looked uneasy, as if they were witnessing something far darker than a celebrity scandal. Inwardly, the mood was not good at all. Meri sat quietly at her table, with papers neatly stacked in front of her. She wasn't trembling anymore. She wasn't angry. She looked calm. Too calm. Christine whispered behind her, "You sure you want to do this?" Meri nodded slowly. Yes, yesterday was about the truth of his lies. And today is the truth about his greed. Kody entered the courtroom, flanked by his lawyer and Robyn, who looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her mascara was gone, her expression hollow. She didn't reach for his hand this time. The judge took her seat. "Mrs. Brown, you indicated you have new evidence to submit." "Yes, Your Honor," Meri said, rising. There was a quiet strength in her voice, and even Kody looked up now. "I have financial records showing that Kody Brown diverted joint family funds into private accounts under false business names." Gasps went around the courtroom. Even the judge blinked in surprise. Kody's lawyer immediately jumped up. "Objection, we haven't reviewed." The judge cut him off. "You'll have your chance, counselor. Mrs. Brown, proceed." Meri handed the evidence to the bailiff. "These are copies of bank statements and emails from production payouts from sister wives over the last 8 years. Kody told us all that the money was divided up between the wives and used for family expenses. That was a lie. He funneled nearly half into a company registered under Robyn's name, one that the rest of us never had access to." The courtroom erupted. Reporters typed furiously. Robyn snapped her head toward Kody. "You told me that account was for taxes." Kody's face flushed. It was complicated. There were business reasons." Meri stepped forward. "Then why did that account pay for a private property in Flagstaff? Why did you list Robyn as the sole beneficiary?" Horror dawned on her face as Robyn's lips parted. "Wait, what?" Kody stammered. "That wasn't... You don't understand the deals I made with the network." The judge raised a hand. "Order! Order!" When the murmurs subsided, Meri's lawyer proceeded. "We do have an email between Mr. Brown and a network executive, dated 2 years ago, requesting that all checks for the family be made out directly to his management company, Brown Legacy Holdings." Christine's gasp was audible. "He said that was for taxes too." Meri turned to her. "He said the same to all of us." Kody stood up, his composure unraveling. "You don't understand how the entertainment world works. I was protecting us from losing everything." Meri's tone remained cool. "You weren't protecting us, Kody. You were protecting yourself." The judge looked toward Kody. "Mr. Brown, do you deny these transactions?" Kody hesitated, eyes darting toward his lawyer. Those were business decisions. The wives didn't understand the complexities of the contracts." Meri took a step closer. "We didn't understand because you never let us see them. You made yourself the hero while we carry the emotional and financial burden of your dream." Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "Do you remember, Kody, when you told me that everything we did was for the family? That every dollar went to our future? I believed you, and you used that belief to steal from me." Robyn turned from him, tears bursting down her cheeks. "You lied to me too." Kody's voice softened. "Robyn, I did it for us. For the kids." She shook her head slowly. "No, you did it for you." The judge leaned forward. "Mrs. Brown, are you seeking damages?" Meri's lawyer nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. We seek full restitution of the diverted funds and a public disclosure of the misappropriated assets." Kody's face was crimson. "You're trying to destroy me." Meri's eyes met his.
her voice no more than a whisper. "No, Kody. You destroyed yourself. I'm just letting the world see what you built." The judge ordered a brief recess to review the financial evidence. As the courtroom began to clear, Robyn didn't get up. She just sat, looking at the floor. Meri walked by her, but then stopped. "You could have stopped him, Robyn. You saw everything." Robyn looked up, her voice shaking. "You think I didn't try? Every time I questioned him, he said it was for the family. I wanted to believe him. I needed to." Meri's face softened slightly. "We all did." The two women sat in silence for a long moment, two sides of the same betrayal. Christine approached him quietly. "Do you think she knew?" Meri shook her head. "Not everything. Kody never let anyone know everything. That's how he controlled us." Christine sighed. "What happens after this?" Meri looked out toward the hallway filled with reporters. "After this, there's no sister wives. There's just the truth. And the truth doesn't need a TV show to be real." The court reconvened. The judge reviewed the statements quietly, then looked at Kody. "Mr. Brown, the records indicate a pattern of undisclosed transfers and misuse of joint funds. This court takes such findings seriously." Kody looked like a man shrinking under the weight of his own empire. "Please, Your Honor, don't let this turn into a circus. We can settle privately." But Meri shook her head. "No more secrets. You kept us silent for years, Kody. You don't get to hide behind closed doors anymore." The judge nodded. "Then the court will proceed with a full audit." Kody's attorney leaned in close to whisper something in his ear, but Kody barely heard him. His eyes had riveted to Meri, the woman he'd underestimated, the one he thought would never stand up to him. And in that moment, he realized the truth wasn't just about money, it was about control. And he had lost it completely. As the judge adjourned for the day, Meri gathered her files. Christine hugged her tightly. "You've done it. You've torn down everything he built on lies." Meri's face was composed, her voice shaking. "I didn't do this to win, Christine. I did it so no one else has to live in his shadow again." They turned to exit the courtroom, but before walking out, Meri stopped and turned back. Kody sat alone at the defense table, staring blankly at the empty chair beside him. Robyn had already walked out. Meri whispered to herself, "Tomorrow, it ends." No morning felt heavier than that verdict morning. The courthouse was overflowing. Fans, reporters, and even old Sister Wives crew members had arrived to witness the end of an era. Inside the courtroom, you could feel the tension pulsating in the air. Kody sat alone, this time. No Robyn, no lawyer whispering into his ear. Just stacks of papers, and a man who finally faced his reflection. In slowly walked Meri, flanked by Christine and Janelle. The women did not say a word, yet their silence spoke volumes. They weren't here for revenge, they were here for truth. The judge came in, everybody rose, cameras clicked. Then the silence fell like a hammer. After reviewing all presented evidence, began the judge. "This court finds that Mr. Kody Brown knowingly misappropriated joint family funds and falsified information for personal gain. Restitution by the court to Mrs. Meri Brown and associated parties is hereby ordered to the full diverted amount plus damages." The words hit like thunder. Kody's head went down, his jaw clenched, hands quaking. For once, there was no speech, no excuse, no camera-ready charm. Just silence. The judge continued. "The further breach of trust and emotional distress caused by such actions requires that this court make a further recommendation for further investigation into contract misrepresentation regarding Brown Legacy Holdings." Gasps erupted around the courtroom. Christine covered her mouth. "He's finished," Janelle whispered. But Meri didn't budge. She just stood there, as immobile as stone, staring at Kody. Finally, he lifted his gaze to hers. "You wanted to ruin me," he whispered, voice shaking. Meri shook her head. "No, Kody. You ruined yourself."
"I just stopped helping you hide it." Reporters shouted questions as the judge left the bench. "Meri, how do you feel? Will you forgive him? Is this the end of Sister Wives?" Meri paused, collecting her breath. "It's not about canceling a show," she said, quietly. "It's about breaking the silence. I have spent years thinking that loyalty means keeping quiet. Real loyalty, to oneself, to the truth, means talking when nobody else will." Christine placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it, Meri. You finally did it." Tears welled in Meri's eyes, but she smiled for the first time in years. "No, we did it. Every woman who's ever been told to keep the peace, this was for her too." Outside, flashes exploded like lightning as Meri walked down the courthouse steps. Fans cheered, some cried, holding signs that read, "Truth wins, Meri strong, justice for the sister wives." Behind her, Kody stumbled out the doors, surrounded by cameras and utterly alone. His empire of image, control, and deceit was gone. Robyn wasn't there, neither were the kids. Just the sound of reporters calling his name, and him refusing to look up. Meri stopped at the bottom of the stairs, turned to face the cameras, and spoke clearly. "I don't hate him. I pity him. Because when all you care about is control, you lose everything that matters." Christine wiped her tears dry. "What now?" Meri looked up to the sky as the sun burst through the clouds. "Now, we start over. Not as sister wives, but as survivors." The camera zooms in on her face as she walks away, leaving the courthouse, cameras, and Kody behind. In the end, truth doesn't need to scream. It just stands quietly and waits for the lies to fall apart. And when they do, justice speaks louder than ever. P.